Hello and welcome to today's Spa Sweethearts craft group. Today we are going to be making flower corsages, and you can make these either out of material or out of paper. To be honest, they do look better out of material, definitely, but if you don't have any at the moment you can still learn the technique. This is from just the old copy of WI Life with some plain paper in the middle, and you could learn the technique this way if you don't have material at the moment. I'll demonstrate with some material today. It was the ladies of the West Yorkshire Federation of WIs who showed me this, and they said it was a particularly good one for doing with a large group of women of all abilities, or men obviously, but we wouldn't have them in the WI, but I'm sure they can still make flower corsages if they wanted to. So what do we need to make them? What we need is two contrasting types of material, two contrasting patterns of material. Today I've gone for a nice blue flowery cotton, and I've chosen a lining material just to show you that the material does not have to be posh, it can just be cheap lining material. But you can do it with any kinds of material which will hold a fold. So t-shirt material is not so good for this one, but cotton, anything like that, you can have a go. Last week I asked you to save a little piece of card, and it's from a box. This is from a cornflake box, but something like that. A little piece of card. We need some scissors. We need some glue. Now you can use PVA for this, it will work perfectly well, or glue stick. Either one will work well for this one. I'm going to demonstrate with a glue stick because it's a bit easier. Now you need a square, and of course I have a square coaster to draw around, but you need two sizes of square. So you will need a ruler and pencil and a little piece of paper in order to make a smaller one as well. Okay, and I will show you how to do all of those things. So you need to iron your material first to make sure that it's nice and flat without any creases in. And then you need to get your square. Now this square is 10 centimetres around, but it really doesn't matter. You can make very small ones, you can make very big ones. It's totally up to you. So I have got my material down, ironed material, put that on, drawn around it and cut it out. And you need to have 6 of these, 6 big squares. Okay, and that's what I've got here. So the first thing you need to do is make your 6 big squares. So you might want to pause there and make those. Now when you've finished that, you need to make 6 little squares of your other material, of your contrasting material. So because this was 10 centimetres, I made a little 5 centimetre square because I think that works well. That will give you that look, but it really is a bit of experimenting around. So when you've got your little template, you put it onto your material, cut it out, and you will end up with 6 big squares. I'll move them here so that I'm sure you can see them, and 6 little squares. Okay, it was particularly important with the lining material to give it an iron, to have it nice and flat. It depends on what kind of material you've got. 6 big squares, 6 little squares. So if you want to stop the video there, you can collect those things together and I'll show you what to do. So when we've got our things, we can put away our small squares for a second and focus on our bigger squares. Remember when we did the Kusadama flowers? We made a triangle by folding along this line. That's what you're going to do today. So I'm going to put those ones away for a moment, and we're going to take one of the squares and fold it corner to corner to make a triangle. So this corner going to this corner, and we need to be looking at the pattern. Okay, so you don't need to be folding it like that, so you're looking at the back. You want to be folding it like this, so you're looking at the pattern yourself on both of the sides. They call this finger pressing. So we are making a good fold, but we're making it just with our fingers. And this is where a crisp cotton will help. If your material will not do this, you may need to stand up at the iron and give it a little press. Okay, more of that later. But here I have just been able to do that. This is a nice crisp cotton, so I've been able to do it like this. Okay, so we've got our triangle. Now, we are now going to fold up, approximate where the middle is there. And I'm going to fold this side up like that. And this side up like that. And you need to fiddle around a little bit here so that both of those two ends are more or less equal. The first time I did this, I ended up with one like that, and that's wrong. We don't want that like that. What we want is to have them equal. Now, at the live crafting sessions that I do, people often think, oh, I didn't get that right straight away. You know, I've practiced this all week before I do it with you. You just need to fiddle around until you get it more or less equal like that. And the more you make of them, the more you will work out exactly how that fold is. So before you make the good fold, be sure that you are happy. I'll just show you again. So you're folding, approximate the middle from there to there where you think it's going to be, and then fold it up like that and up like that. The ladies in West Yorkshire said we have to get 3 peaks. So that's what you remember, that you're getting 3 points like that. And so they look more or less equal. If you turn it round to what will now be the right side, that's what you will be getting, that's what you'll be looking. And when you're happy with that, then do your finger pressing. Squidge it all down. Now, you don't want your corsage to look like someone sat on it, which is kind of what this one looks like. It looks better if it's a little bit fluffy, but you want your front one to look fluffy. So we're going to do that, and then we are going to put some glue, but we're not gluing all over. We're not going mad making it look like it was squashed. We're going to put a little bit of glue along just those bottom 2 edges. I put a bit there and a bit there, and then I fold it up. It was a revelation to me at a WI meeting to know that you can use glue stick on material. I learnt that at the WI. I didn't know you could, and you can, because it will hold it together perfectly well. So when you do it like that, it's not totally flat, it's got a little bit of life in it there for not gluing everywhere. But this will be the back of your corsage, so don't worry too much about that. Okay, now that's the back, and that's the front. So you're looking at it like that. Now, you can see that this is a little bit frayed here. If I've got one like that, I might just pull that off. But when the ladies from West Yorkshire showed me, it was actually quite frayed, and that looks quite nice. If you have pinking shears, you can pink the edges, which is what I've done on this one. I've used pinking shears to do the edges there, but it's not necessary, and I think it does look nice when it's got a little bit of raggediness to it. Remember, these are homemade crafts. So once you've done that, you then basically need to do the same thing again for all 6 of them. So you've got one like that, and then you're going to repeat it for the rest of them. So I've got 3 lying down here, and I will just show you one more time. You go a triangle, fold it down like that. The first time I made these, I glued it at this stage, but that gave the sort of sat on flat look, so I decided to stop doing that. I'm approximating where my half is there, and then I'm folding it up and up again. Oh, I'm not happy with that one, they're not equal. So I'm now going to just fiddle around a little bit until I've got 1, 2, 3 peaks. And then I'm going to stick that down. Not gluing all over, just a little bit of glue there, a little bit of glue there, and folding it up. It doesn't matter which order you fold up, which side you fold up, because this is going to be the back. So you're going to end up with this one, and then you're going to end up with all 6, and I'll show you what to do after that. We'll pause there. So now we've made all 6, okay? So we're going to do the same thing with our little ones. So we're going to fold them, finger press them and go up. But when I did it with this, the finger pressing doesn't really work on the lining one. It would if you were doing another cotton. When I did this, it worked perfectly well, but that one didn't. So I ironed them. I stood at the iron, and it's harder to film this, and you don't need to watch somebody ironing. So I ironed it instead. I ironed each one of the folds, but it was exactly the same. We had the square, I folded it in half and I ironed it. I folded it up, and then I ironed it again. Okay, so that's what happened with those ones, but we did do exactly the same thing, making the 6. So I'm just going to finish these ones off for us. Now these are the ones that you do want to look a little bit fluffier, so don't go mad with your glue everywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just one more left. Okay. And so I'd say if you do want to stand and do the iron, that is absolutely fine. It totally depends on what you're doing. And if you're doing it in paper, then you obviously don't need to do that at all. Okay. Now there are 2 ways of putting this together. You can assemble each one like this separately. So you can get your big square and then you can get your small square and you can stick that on top like that. Still using the still using the glue stick, I mean. And you can do each one like that. That isn't my preferred method, but you can do it that way if you want. I'll show you the other way. So we get our square. Again, you don't really want to be looking at the cornflake side, so let's glue on that side. And I think it's easier if you do glue all over this time. So put a nice little bit of glue all over your card like that. And then assemble. You don't need to be looking at your card over the edges. So you see how I've put that like that? And you can see that I'm kind of going halfway down. You can assemble it before you put the glue on if you want to and stick that. We're now going to stick the other one next to it, pushing it right up. So they're going right next to each other with their points together. I've just realised I forgot to tell you that you could put you could also have a button in the middle, but you can have a button in the middle if you want. Okay. So then you're just going to assemble them by putting them all together like that, and they should neatly come together. Now, again, in the interest of honesty, first time I did this, picked it up and they all fell off again. The PVA does make it a little bit more secure, and also waiting and having patience makes it a little bit more secure than picking it up straight away, you know, but that's the way it is. And then we're going to stick in the middle. So now I get my glue stick and actually put it onto the material all the way around. So I just put it, and you can see I was holding it a little bit to keep it all together, and then I'm going to assemble. Now, just a little word to remind you, because I've just done it, the front and back, okay? That's the front, that's the back. You should be looking at the one, I'm just checking I've got that right, because of course I'm doing it backwards for you, yeah? Okay, you should be looking at the ice cream cone looking one, not at the one where you can see your folds. Unless of course you want to pretend that that was the look you were going for all along because you got it wrong. But you can definitely get your ice cream cone. Of course, the thing about the PVA is the Pritt stick shows that you can actually have a little bit of manoeuvring. If you've only got that super tacky glue that a lot of crafters might have, you've got to be a bit more careful because that dries straight away. So I'm poking it all down, and I'm going to end up with that. Okay, so I'm showing you how the back looks, and I'm showing you how the front looks. Now with this, I stuck one in the middle. I stuck a button in the middle to make it look nice. You can or not, it's up to you with that one. Okay, you can decide. This is less secure because I keep picking it up and I haven't waited. But if you just wait a little bit, that's what you get. One of the really good uses for this is to making them out of paper like this, so just the same, turning them into rosettes. I know a lot of WIs have competitions, baking, craft and otherwise, and it makes a really nice rosette like that. That's made out of paper, and I stuck the cornflake one just so you could see. You could do gold, silver and bronze, or any of those kind of things. They make a nice rosette. They make a nice corsage you could wear. You could stick this onto a card. You could stick this, you could sew them onto a cushion or something like that. But I think for WI, it's a really good thing for a big group to do. You could even back to back these if you wanted to as well, to add a little bit extra for making those table decorations, all kinds of things. See you next week for more craft fun.